Traders, welcome back to another Relentless recap. In this one, we're going to talk about how I lost $2,500 trading today. We had some very hot stocks in ticker symbol MLGO as well as ticker symbol UPXI. It's very frustrating to be down this amount on a day where stocks are up hundreds of percent. Right, if we're to look at the scans here to our left, these stocks, UPXI up 400+% after pulling back, MLGO at this point up 132%. RT, what happened? What went wrong? So that's what we'll be discussing here in this recap. And it's a good reminder that trading is hard and trading is risky, right? Even for someone like myself, who's been around the block multiple times, multiple years, even on a hotter day like this, it still can happen. And for me, honestly, I don't feel very upset today, but it is a little disappointing to be red, especially on days where stocks are really going up, right? And for me, sometimes it feels like it happens far too often, especially this year in comparison to prior years. This year has been so choppy for me here in terms of the day over day performance. It seems like red, green, red, green, red, green as we go day by day, right? So, today I'm asking myself, what can I do differently in my approach? So a big focus for me has been, trying to use small size early and then gradually progress as the day goes on. And a day like today where I'm telling myself to not increase share size unless the stocks are strong and I'm also building a cushion, I still think I'm falling victim to the same issue, which is that I'm sizing up before I really get green, and then I'm having losses with the bigger share size. So, just a pretty tough environment, right? I'm gonna actually look at a little bit of the footage today I was able to record. I don't even remember if I was green at one point or at any point on the stock, but we'll double check here. But man, was it brutal trying to get something going. So okay, it looks like at one point here I'm up $500. This is fairly early in the first, 5 to 8 minutes. And let's see how things go. Because look at my share size here. For example, I'm in 500 shares, 23. The stock is currently up here, 87, 97. This is a great trade to this point. It looks like we sold 200 shares. It jumps up to 1347, which is even better. I should have been selling another 100 shares or more here. Okay, there it is. Not bad. And trades like this are great trades. With the smaller size, we understand that early it's very possible that we can not maximize, but that's fine. That's part of building a cushion. And I think the expectation for me here is the stock stepping up, and I think that's where the problem is going to really come. So I still have 100 shares going right now. You guys can see I'm looking to size up to now 1,000 shares from 500, which was my last trade, and then I have 2,000 max size. Even here, 500 shares coming back down, perhaps to buy twice if I need to maybe have a better average. Now let's fast forward here to see how this is going to play out. We took off that 100 share position around 13. Okay, that's fine. Still a good win. We're out at 13.21 right there, that last position, which is pretty good. So almost $1 a share win. Looks like I'm up $600 right here. Is where if I'm, if I did not trade this day, and I'm coming back to watch, this is where I'd say, hey, RT, it seems like you're in a good rhythm. Start to now size up to really build a day, and let's get going. And of course, with size, it's important that your first couple of trades, you can capture something. Looks like I tried for a higher dip there, didn't quite work. And I'm back out tightly. The stock then pulls back to then 35. Let's see here the spreads and how it played out. See, and this is part of the issue where it's like a little brutal. Our spread here, and I did remember this trade. I got filled on the ask, I believe. So you got to watch out for the spreads, but I think that's fine. It's still a fair entry considering where we could go. Highs are at 14. I'm risking about 20 cents. Like, can we hold up our key levels here? So I'm going to skip ahead. It looks like the stock comes down again. So I'm going to take a loss here. This is a trade. I mean, I'm in at 60, so it's hard to add. So probably best to have kept it tight. And maybe I should have kept it a little tighter. But again, this is one of those type of stocks, right? From 60 to then 15 pretty quickly, right? So again, 50 by 60, 60 by 70, 65 by 75, and then, okay, there's 48 by 55, and then 13. So, when it comes to managing risk and keeping it tight, sometimes on these type of stocks, man, the range can be a blessing and a curse. So the little day that I built up is just slowly dwindling away from me taking these losses. And it looks like the low of the pullback is above 12. So it for me, looking back at it, like I'm taking a little longer to cut. It looks like that's why. And so I mentioned earlier in the day on the live stream that I gave a few trades a chance when I should have been out immediately. And the reasoning here is like, hey, I think we're actually still in support. Initially, I'm thinking we're a little higher for the dip, and we're gonna bounce, the high dip, higher low. But we're then back down here. We saw how quickly we came down, and these are the trades where, if I'm not positioned properly, I could be stopped out. And I think this is perhaps the worst trade of the day. So I bought back, which I was supposed to, and then this thing I think got up to 1330. It's crazy. It's just so crazy, man. I was telling myself to hold longer because I've been selling too soon. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see. I think this got over 13 for a brief second. I was down very quickly. And when the stock pulls away from my cost basis, I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. But I should have already been looking to take profits. I think I was a little too lackadaisical. Like right here, I'm up $1 a share essentially, and I should have sold half immediately. So we got to 13.25, and part of it too, when we do come back down to like 12.80, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna retest over 13. There's no reason to panic right here. So right here, we're gonna come back down like 12.70, 12.80. Right here, I'm thinking, okay, fine, just a quick bit of a selling pressure. We're gonna come back up again, and it never comes back up. My average is 36. Right here, I'm like, oh, you son of a, man. Tell you, I had two other entries where I had an entry. Where's my drawing tool, bro? Sometimes these stocks, they just want to drive me mad. It's how it seems like. It's almost like it was designed to try to get me to be upset and frustrated. Like, but of course, that's not the case. We can feel like that individually, but that's never the case, right? We're not being targeted, despite it at times feeling that way. Like it's comical. The places where you sell, where you could have then took profits, and or you seeing something that tells you to make an adjustment, you make that adjustment, and that's where the trade fails. Those type of scenarios where it's like, bro, come on. So in this consolidation, I'm pretty sure I had a position as well, and I sold it like right here. And I knew like, okay, maybe I could have held it longer. I had the intuition, but I just took it. Right here where I should have just been taking it is just right back down, and it's like $1,000 unrealized, gone. And a big part of these stocks for anybody who is trading a stock like this that is up 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. It really and truly comes down to this share size right here. This position is a small fraction of my buying power. Technically I could have been in here probably 10,000 shares and still get filled, right? plus or minus, I don't know. But let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, I could have been in here 10,000 shares. And in the same exact trade, I would have gotten filled in the same place, in the same trade. I would have been up unrealized 10,000. Would that have inclined me to sell earlier? I don't know. I think, honestly, I would have treated the trade the same exact way because emotions were not involved here. But for the people who you guys might see who could be up 10, 50, 10, 20, 50K, whatever, that's what it comes down to. And know that the other side of it is the stock, teleporting down, bigger red candle. And if you happen to get caught instantly, you could be down like 30K on one trade, right? There's levels to this game here, depending on where your account is, how comfortable you are, your risk tolerance, your personality. So for me, looking at a trade like this, it's definitely frustrating. And I think this is where things kind of went downhill. I switched away to MLGO, and boy, did I get destroyed on this resumption. I mean, just tough break here. So initially, I feel comfortable here and fine that I took the two smaller losses, trying to get a bit of a micro. The charts are not quite zoomed in, so it's a little harder to see. But I'm going to try one more time at the dip, and I'm going to get cooked. I think right here, 50 area. Oh, okay. Looks like I should have been in for that pop. I might have missed that one. Sometimes another thing is if you wait for the break below the level and it doesn't come, that the trade could be gone just like that. And that looks like it was a nice bounce. I should have been a little bit more aggressive there. And let's see, let's fast forward. Okay, looks like I pulled up. Oh, okay, never mind. My level 2. Because, okay, I see what happened here. Because I traded this stock off screen on a different chart in level 2, and I would show it up on my account number showing over there. Yeah, because I did trade this off of screen, my level 2 wasn't pulled up over here. I kind of just pulled it up so the YouTube audience could also be able to see. But the level 2 was unchanged. But anyhow, we jumped in. We jumped in one last time here after this epic flush down. Watch this. Yeah. One last time we jumped in. And it's just going to take me down to the depths. It's kind of hard. Of course, the level 2 is on a different level 2. But if you just look at the chart there. Right. So I jumped in at the very bottom here thinking we at least should see a bounce. And it completely Christmas trees to 968. So I'm in at 10 at the whole dollar. The freaking thing is at 966. Brutal. So there was 700 there. And then, on the other stock, we're kind of struggling. Man, oh man, I tell you. I tell you, man. We're trying at a couple dips. And you can see, again, if you're using size, your P&L today would be moving like crazy. But I'm trying not to be aggressive until I can build some sort of a cushion. And right here, I started to feel pretty good. So I increased my size and I got ready. I'm gearing up for battle here, for real. This is where I was going to start to use size, like, 3K size, stuff like that. But I think after just like 2-3 trades, we got murdered. Lows were at 13, highs at 14.55. And just the way how the stock would move when it was ready, it's like at the slightest hint, you have to jump in. If you didn't, and you're not holding from the lows, you would miss a move of like $1.50. Let's fast forward here. And this was a big area here. So I got back green, and the pull we broke over I think the highs. So at this time it's at 950. If we were to go on the chart and come back to 950, it's right in this area here. So we had a candlestick off this miniature flag here. Bro, this is what really got me, right? So we started off quick flag here, nice big insane move. First consolidation didn't really hold up, and so it's all about the 5 minute pullback at this point, right? So 1 minute breakout consolidation, the 1 minute consolidation didn't hold. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? And I miss this setup has been pretty popular and powerful the last couple of days, like this bear flag here. But I look, this is me trading MLGO pretty much. Opportunity is going to cost. So by the time I come back to the stock, I've basically missed this red to green. I've missed this beautiful move. And look at this, like a double bottom here, and then break over this pivot with a baby pullback, and then a move up. 3-bar play. Key area here, man. Key area that I basically missed. And so I'm like, okay, I missed that. We just broke out a strong high volume candle over high of day, which at the time was 1394. We got up to 1455. And it's like, okay, we came from a distance, so it's fair that we can see basically a repeat of this right here, which will be a quick bull flag, and then we continue making new highs. So instead of this green candle right here being red, or this red candle being instead of this candle being red, this candle here actually would be green, or at least a candle in this area in the range, and we pushed to 15. So I was buying down here aggressively. Like I had a little bit of a cushion, and I'm like, okay, bro, who is playing that type of music so loud? So right here, once this is coming down, I'm like buying, and even here, this is another example where I could have cut my trade instantly. I'm like, I'm giving it a chance because okay, I'm in. We can break below the whole $1.13, curl right back up. But instead, I try again. Okay, and that was a fair move there to try again. Like I try to recycle this here. Like I'll take a small loss. And so 13, 15. I'm in at 24. So I took the loss, and right here I'm like, okay, let's try and buy back. And I thought it held. Maybe I jumped in a little too early, but I thought it held here. And the moment I'm in, it is collapsing. Brutal, bro. And this again, you can see how long I'm taking to cut the trades. Like, I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing here in terms of at least cutting faster, bro. Like, all right, once we're in there, the hypothesis kind of failed, and there's a 10,000 share seller that I didn't like realize at the moment. There is no bounce here, bro. They just have to cut this. I could have came out like 50, 70 instead of 25. And look at that, 25 fill. Man, brutal. So, the earlier areas is where I kind of had the most trouble. I think this is a pretty pivotal moment because if this pullback is to hold up and be strong around 13, then the chances are that we'd be up a couple thousand. So being that we cut the trade slowly and losing an extra 25, 30 cents, all that is going to kind of compound and put us down even more, right? The WTX. Let's see. This one was a tough one, man. Out of the resumption, I thought it wasn't as clean as it could have been. Let's see, and then we came back down and it failed right here. So, again, similar to the other stock, but this time let's see if I was able to cut the trade at least a little quicker. Low was 88, I'm in at 03. Fair trade. High of days at 73. But right here, I think I need to be quick to cut the trade. Okay, looks like I did. All right, that's much better. And that one went down. And so, again, this kind of thing here now, I come back to this stock. And I'm kind of missing this front side push again, right? So these type of things, kind of got me. When you switch away, you kind of risk, coming out of the zone, and you can see I even try to throw out an order here. All I needed was one big move to get back green, and it seemed like I couldn't capture one. Like a move like this, 14 to 15, and then I think it kept going eventually. Or okay, we had to pull back first, and then we went again. Yeah, so it just seemed like the timing for me was off, and switching back and forth between stocks was a problem. At this point, I'm down 2,500. Mentally, I still feel fine even now, but I don't know, man. Like just missing everything, not capturing anything. Like, could I have given myself a new max loss of like, because again, mentally, I'm not compromised. Could I have said, okay, yo, to hell with it, new max loss of another 1K, like 35. If I go down 3,500, then I stop, and then try again. I guess I could have done that, but what I didn't like is that I was red to begin with, and most days that are good, strong days, I'm never really red. Even if I am, I'm briefly red, three, four, $500, 1K max. But red like 300 and back green 800 and up to 1.5 then 3K then 6K then blah blah blah, right? So I'm like, man, this I whilst I still I don't know, maybe this is a difference in me now because like for example, I saw MLGO and I'm like, bro, like what if I just stayed and traded this thing? Like is it that I don't have the fight in me, or I can't be bought? I can't explain it to myself even. Is it that I did the right thing and walked away max loss, or am I being a little too soft by saying, the day's done when I could have came back maybe with smaller size again? Because I did miss out this push here, and I think this push as well. I don't know. It's hard to say what's right and what's wrong. I mean, I could have stayed and then got lost more, got frustrated, got bigger red. But I would like to think that if I stayed, I would have stayed composed mentally, even if I had lost money. But again, so it's kind of a tough decision. Even when you're green, right? That's the question always too. Like, if a stock is still going, you're green 5K on the day. You ask yourself, do I want to keep going where I can potentially make more, or I can give some off the top? And ultimately, on a day like this, I think whatever you choose to do as the trader, you can't really complain. You can't second guess it. You just got to move forward with one train of thought and have that be, you know, and just it's kind of like the case closed. Not overthink it. But that was the day. It wasn't a bad. So it's why I say still to this point, like I haven't really had a bad day in years. In like 4 or 5 years, I haven't had like a day, like a bad day. Like today's a red day, but it isn't necessarily a day where I became compromised mentally and that kind of stuff. It's been 5 6 years since that has happened. It's a day where we just couldn't really connect. We still followed our rules. We were still disciplined. There's still a lot of good things, but man, like to lose $2,500 so easily, it feels like. The real question that I have for myself is like, what can I do differently in my risk management system? One, I gotta cut those losses when the trade isn't working. Forget giving it a sec to reclaim. Forget giving it a sec to bounce. But gotta cut it. Gotta cut it quicker. We could have probably saved ourselves like 1K in losses from just simply just cutting it quicker. Boom, that brings us to 1,500 automatically. Much more respectable day to the downside. I think that's the biggest thing that's standing out. But other than that, I'm thinking about like sizing up and how I should proceed with that and building a cushion. I think I have the right idea, but maybe I could still exercise more discipline towards going slow and maybe even Again, it's the tough thing for me because I've had so many days where I just went to size and then immediately just build, build, build. But I think I gotta keep working on slowly increasing the size, even if it means sacrificing the bigger green days, because we're losing too much when we're red. I think we're losing way too much. Like today, back in the days, like I'd probably be down like $800 today. But anyhow, so that's the recap. Bit of an in-depth session there. I think that'll do it. Hit that thumbs up. Tomorrow again, 9:15 a.m. Stay safe, stay green. Catch you guys in the next one.